Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we're going to speak about interruption points. So interruption points, we use them a lot inside our schematics to break a connection and continue it elsewhere inside our schematics. So maybe you want to break the connection on page 100 and you want to continue the connection on page 101. Yes, indeed, we can use interruption points to do that. So electrically inside the cabinet, the panel builder will actually wire them together because they are actually physically connected. But inside EPLAN schematics, we'll actually break them and continue them elsewhere inside our schematics. So with interruption points, they are normally called interruption markers or interruption nodes by some people, and they are special symbols which, yes, indeed, we use them to break a connection. Interruption points are essentially virtual connections which maintain electrical continuity while improving schematic clarity. So we use them to avoid clutter inside our schematic pages. So in this lecture, what we're going to do is that we're going to look at interruption points, but we're going to look at them from the angle of using the navigators. So yes, indeed, just like we had with the terminals, we had with the cables, and also with the devices, interruption points also have navigators. And inside the navigators, what we're going to do is that we're going to look at sorting, we're going to look at placing, and also we're going to look at assigning. With assigning, I'm going to show you guys, with placing and assigning, I'm going to show you guys with regards to devices and also interruption points, and also what's the difference and how they behave. So to start off things, we need to open up the interruption points navigators. So to open the interruption points navigators, we can go to view, and underneath view, we can go to navigators, and right here, we can open the interruption points navigators. So basically, these are all the navigators that we have inside our EPLAN. And also what you can do with interruption points, yes, indeed, it is possible to go to connections and open your interruption points navigator from connections. So since I'm here, I'm just going to open them from connections. So with interruption points, yes, indeed, also we are able to select them and synchronize selection. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you guys how you can actually do some synchronized selection and also do some sorting, placing, and assigning. So we're going to go from page 100, and then we're going to look at how it flows inside our schematics. So right now, I'm going to look at the L1. Let's not look at all of them at the same time. Let's just focus on the L1, and then after that, we're going to right click and say select synchronization. So right now, looking at our graphical preview, we can see where L1 originates. This is where the tail begins. So the tail begins from page 100. So basically from page 101, not page 100, but from page 101 inside a different cabinet. So just be wary of that. It's from a different cabinet. So it's from the STN01, which is our power enclosure. The TN01, it's our controls enclosure. So basically it comes from page 101. So if I go to that one, let's just go to the graphic, show you guys how it comes. So basically this is the enclosure. You can see this is the STN01. This is the enclosure that I'm speaking about. It's coming from our motor protection circuit breaker or our MCCB, and then it goes to our controls enclosure. This is the power enclosure. It goes to our controls enclosure, and from here it goes through the terminals, through the main disconnection switch, and then it goes to our bus bar, and then from there it continues right through our schematics. So we can see it goes to page 100, and as you can look at it on our graphical preview right there, it comes into our enclosure with that cable through the terminals, through the main disconnection switch, into the retro bus bar, and it flows inside our schematics. So it flows from the bottom right there, and it goes like that, and you can see how it flows inside our schematics. So as I go through, you can look at our graphical preview and you can see how it actually goes. So it goes like that, and therefore you can see it ends right there at page 275 at column 9. So if I go to page 275 column 9, you can see it ends here. So therefore that's why we do not have any page being referenced there. So yes, indeed, this schematics is not complete, so we need to complete it. And once we have completed it, what we're going to do is that we're going to actually have a page whereby we actually have some end connection device points. So therefore we do not end the interruption points like this, because remember, with interruption points, they need to have a head and a tail. If they don't have a head and a tail, meaning that they do not have a pair or a set, EPLAN will actually return a warning for you guys to be able to sort it out, to not have it without a head or without a tail. So in this situation, we're not going to look at whether EPLAN returns an error or not. That we can maybe look at it in a different course or something like that. For this course, we're not going to focus on how to actually check whether EPLAN is giving us an error in terms of interruption points not having a head and a tail. So they need to be complete. Essentially, in general, interruption points needs to be complete with a head and a tail. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you guys that in page 100, we have this one going to page 101. What you can do in EPLAN, you can say that L1 should not go to page 101, but it should go to page million or page 10,000 or something like that. So I can create a dummy page. Let's create a dummy page and show you guys what I mean by that. Let's create a page. I'm just going to give it zeros. For now, we're going to call it's page 1 million. I'm not sure. It could be page 10 million by those numbers, by those zeros. But for now, I'm just going to reference it as page 1 million. So I've created a page 1 million, and you can see this is the page 1 million existing inside our page navigators. And you can see this is how it looks like. So you can see right there, that's the page existing. Now, what I want to do is that I want the interruption points that are coming from page 100. So you can see from page 100, you can see that interruption point on column 9. I want them to not go to page 101, but I want them to go to page 100 or page 1 million, the page 1 billion that we have created. So I'm going to copy these ones. So I can copy them like that, go to my page 1 million, paste them right there. And you can see now I have interruption points inside my page 1 million. So with that being said, what you need to see is that you need to see that this one, they go to page 100. But inside EPLAN, what EPLAN is doing is that it's looking at the last one. Remember, the last one was on page 275. It's looking at that one, and now it's saying that I'm going to actually connect you with the last one. And now it's actually connecting me with page 275. But that's not what I want. That's not what I need to do, actually. What I need to do, I need to have them connecting with what's on page 100. So in EPLAN, you can just click on any of these interruption points as long as it's with L1. I'm going to show you guys only with L1. You can do the same principle for L2, L3, and then neutral. So with the L1, you can click on any of these interruption points and then right click and also go to sort interruption points. So you can sort the interruption points, and looking at these ones, it's the same list that you're actually seeing right here. So with this list, what you can do is that you can see that we're actually starting from the STN01 inside page 101. And then we move into page 100 inside the TN01. Remember the TN01? It's the controls enclosure. And then we go into column 9. So we're moving from column 1. So you can see by those black circles right there, we're moving from column 1 to column 9 by those black circles, and then we move into page 101. So you can see right there, we move into page 101. But what I want in EPLAN, I want this one at column 9 to move to right here at column 0, which is on page 1 million. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select both of these ones, and I'm actually going to push them to the top. So you can push them to the top like that, or what you can do is that if ever they are at the bottom like that, you can select all of these ones until here. So you can see all of these ones that are existing. You can select all of them and then push them underneath. So you can push them underneath like that. So therefore now you're saying that from page 100 at column 9 inside the controls enclosure, we go into page 1 million at column 0. And then from column 0, we go into column 9 inside page 1 million. And from there, we're going back to page 101. So therefore, if I say OK to that, you can see now it changes and it says that it's coming from 100.9 and it's going to 101.0. So if I F click on that one, you can see it's going to here. And if you go to page 100, so this is page 100, as you can see, this is page 100, and it's going to page 1 million. So you can see these ones, I didn't change them. They still going to the same page 101. But this one, it's going to page 1 million. And you can see right there, it says it comes from page 100.9, and it's going to this one right here. So you can see that's where it's going. So now for the sorting and assigning. For the sorting and assigning, what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to open a page. Maybe let's open this one. It's actually a good one to open and give you an example for that. So for this one with the devices, let's open the devices navigator. I want to use this device as an example. Let's use the device navigators and show you guys how it looks like for the device navigators and what's the difference with the interruption points. So I'm going to open the device navigators and I'm gonna actually synchronize this device right here. So let's synchronize this device right here. And with this device, you can see this device is actually a contactor. You can see it on our graphical preview that it is a contactor, and also it is written there that it's a contactor. It's a 4 kilowatt contactor. So with this contactor, we have the L1 and the T1, the L2 and the T2, the L3 and the T3. So those are in the power circuit. And then we also have the auxiliaries, which is the 13, 14, 21, 22, 31, 32, 43, 44. So with the 21, 22 and the 31, 32, they are not being used inside your schematics. So these ones with the cube, so you can see with the cube and the blue triangle, they are actually used inside your schematics. So this one with the triangle, it does exist physically on the device, but it's not used inside the schematics. So we're going to actually just right click on it, and we're going to place it inside our schematics. So we have placed it like that. And as you can see, once you have placed it, you can see that it actually says that in EPLAN now I have a cube and a triangle, meaning that I exist inside the schematics. So now what we can do is that we can place it again. We can place it again inside our schematics, but now what you do is that you get this cube which does not have a triangle, meaning that you're actually using 21 and 22 twice inside your schematics, and EPLAN does not allow for that. So if ever you check your message errors, you would be able to see an error that EPLAN says it does not allow for that. So now what we need to do is that you can see also in EPLAN, you can say that, okay, let's not make this one being a 21 and a 22. We can actually click on this one and say assign, and we can actually assign and have it as 31 and 32. And therefore you can see all of them are with the triangle and the cube matching each other. But now you can see that we no longer have anything to use inside this device. On this device, we no longer have anything to use. But with EPLAN, with the interruption points, you can use them as many times as you want to. You can assign them, you can place them as many times as you want to. You do not have a limit because the interruption points do not possess the same properties as devices. So therefore, if ever you want to place them, you can click on any of these ones which are for the L1. You can click on any of these ones and then just right click and say assign or place. You can say place to place them inside your schematics, and you can say assign to override an existing one. So just to make sure that you actually are understanding what I'm saying, we can actually just open the sorting interruption points, and if ever you want to count them, you can count how many of them are there, and therefore you can see once you say place, you can actually check how many you have gained. So you can see, we can actually still see the L2, L3, and L4. What I'm going to do, I'm going to place, and you will see that you will start disappearing, meaning that the list is increasing. So you can see the list is increasing, meaning that I can place them as many times as I want to, and I will not get a problem inside EPLAN. The only problem, yes, indeed, which I will get is that maybe I'm missing a head, or maybe I'm missing a tail, or maybe this one does not have an electrical connection. So you can see this one does not have electrical connections. So these ones here, they do not have any electrical connection. Only this one has. So therefore, I'll actually get an error inside EPLAN for those ones. But you can see that we can actually be able to place them inside our schematics without having any issues of EPLAN saying that the device does not have that contact, or that contact has been used multiple times. And also, you can also be able to assign them. So I can change this one. At the moment, you can see it looks at L1. I can be able to change it by just assigning. So let's assign it and make it an L2. So you can make it an L2. You can make it anything else. You can make it an OSSD. So you can actually make it an OSSD like that by just assigning. So you can do that. So you can see now we have 3 of them, and therefore having 3 of them, you might be missing a head, or you might be missing a tail. So therefore that's how you can actually use interruption points in EPLAN. So yes, indeed, it is possible to actually check which ones do not have a head or which ones do not have a tail. So you can see this one, it's alone, it's sitting alone right here. So if ever you want to do just a visual inspection, you are able to do a visual inspection like this. What you can do also is that you can click on your cabinet or on your enclosure. You can just click on it like that inside your interruption or your navigators, and just hit the star key on your keyboard. So just hit the star key on the keyboard, and then you can do a quick visual inspection and then be able to see which one does not have a pair. So remember, they need to have a pair so you can see which ones do not have a pair. So this is one way you can do it, and there is another way you can do it by using block properties or by scripting. So we're not going to look at that in terms of using block properties or using scripting. We're not going to look at that. That's not part of this course. So what we have done is that we have looked at them like that. We have looked at them with the visual inspection, and also we have been able to understand the sorting. We have been able to understand the placing of interruption points as compared to placing of devices, and also assigning of interruption points as compared to assigning of devices. So yes, indeed, interruption points do possess a different property as compared to devices. So if ever you have a problem with these ones as well, yes, indeed, you are able to sort them. So remember, with the 0 volts, it actually needs to flow. So I'm going to close the device navigators because we are done showing the example for the device navigators, and just delete these ones because they don't belong here. So with the 0 volts, yes, indeed, you can see the 0 volts, it comes from our area right here. So you can see it actually flows from here. It actually comes from our power supply. That's where it originates from. So if I synchronize this one, you would see that the 0 volts comes actually from our power supply. That's our power supply right there. It flows inside our schematics. We feed in different devices, and you can see this one, it flows like this and flows to the bottom, feeds those relays right there. Those relays, they get 0 volts, and then it goes to page 261. So from page 261, it flows like that. It flows into our drive, giving the 0 volts where it is required. And after that, it flows like that to here. And from here, it flows to here. And then from here, it flows to our LEDs and also our contactor and the relay. And therefore, that's where it ends. But there are situations whereby maybe this one, it's actually mixed with this one. So maybe this one is sitting here, or maybe this one is sitting here, and this one is sitting here. So in EPLAN, there might be such situations whereby they are actually mixed up, and therefore you do not want them to be mixed up like that. So what you can do as well, you can do the sorting for this one as well. So just be wary, this one has a different DT as compared to this one right here. So you can see this one has a DT, which is the 0 volts DC, but this one has a DT, which is the 0 volts LTB. So it's actually this one right here. So you can see there's only 4 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's only 4 of them. So what I'm going to do, actually, let's just close all these ones here. So remember, we clicked the star sign. I don't like them opening up like that. So what you can do in EPLAN, you can use the /. So you can just click on the /, and therefore if you open it again, you can see they are closed like that. So now I'm going to just synchronize only this one. So we have only this one open up. So once we have only this one open up, you can see we're saying that we need you to go from page 260.9 and then go to page 261.0, which is there on our graphical preview, the one at the top, not the one at the bottom. So remember, there's also another page 261.0. There's also another interruption point right there, but we don't want you to go to that one first. We want you to end there. So we want you to go from page 260.9 and then go to page 261.0 and then go to page 261.9 and then come back to page 261.0. So if ever they are swapped, there is a possibility maybe you have this one swapped with the other one. So you can just go to sorting. I'm just going to swap them on purpose. So let's have this one maybe as the second one. So we go from 260.9 and then we go to page 261.0, which is right there at the bottom, and then these ones make a connection with each other. There is a possibility that in EPLAN, you will not get an error because you do have a head and a tail. So I have a head, I have a tail, I have a head, I have a tail. You do not get any error. But what happens is that when somebody is wiring this panel, what they will see is that they will go to page 260. So they are wiring inside page 260. They've wired this relay, wire to this relay, and then they say, okay, we need to continue to the next page, and then they will continue to the next page, and they will come to this side at the bottom. So they have missed these ones at the top, and therefore they will continue to wire right here. And when they look at this one, they say, okay, I haven't wired this one, but I can see it on my schematics. So where does it come from? It says it comes from page 261.9. So he looks at it and he says he wires to this one. He wires to, there's no other one. It's only this one on the drive. He wires to this one. And when he looks at it, he says, where is this one going? This one is going to 261.0, but where is 261.0? If I click on it, it's actually right there. So you can see they are doing something like this. So what you need to do is that you need to properly sort it out inside your navigators. So inside your interruption navigators, you can sort that problem out. So just right click on any of these interruption points with the valid DT which is giving a problem. Just sort them out and say that you come from 260.9 and then you need to go to this one right here. So I'll push this one to the top. So 260.9, 261.0, and then it goes to 261.9 and it ends at 261.0. So therefore you can see it goes like that. So if I go to here, it goes from this one to this one at the top, connects to the drive, and then it moves to this one, and from this one it goes back to the bottom right here, connect to our LEDs. So that's how you can use interruption points for sorting, for placing, and also for assigning. So thanks very much for watching this lecture, and surely I'll see you guys in next lecture.